Western Cape disaster management officials say they are on high alert. This, of course, as a level 2 weather warning is in place for parts of the Western Cape. The Cape Town Weather Office says that light rains, and we've seen it happening already today, some light rainfall across the Cape Metropole, will precede the two cold fronts due to make landfall on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm joined now by Mr. Colin Diner. He is the head of disaster management in the Western Cape. Mr. Diner, good morning to you. So, of course, these two cold fronts due to make landfall. What exactly does this level 2 weather warning mean in terms of the kind of impact of the rainy weather as well as high waves, etc.?
Yes, so we've basically received 3 warnings. The one is for high waves for the entire Western Cape coastline, and then also for rain and for strong winds. It's a high probability, but not with such a high impact. Although we have seen a number of very severe flooding in the last 2 years. We've had 5 major floods. So there is a lot of area that is still possible, that could possibly be impacted just due to their vulnerability. And that could be like in informal settlements, mountainous areas and areas that received damage in the past. So that's what we're expecting and what we're keeping an eye out for.
So, of course, we know that it's mid-May. It's the time of year where we can expect cold fronts to make landfall. You know, the Western Cape usually gets winter rainfall. But you were talking about the disasters that you've had to manage over the past 2 years as well. So when we see the impact of any kind of heavy rainfall, you've mentioned particular areas in the West Coast as well. Just give us a synopsis of what has been happening.
Yes, so, you know, we had a lot of road damage. We had a lot of infrastructure damage in terms of electricity pylons, roads that we couldn't access specific areas. A lot of work has been done to repair that we've received a lot of national disaster funding. So a lot of that work has been ongoing and some of the work has been completed, but we're still in the process of repairing in quite a lot of areas. And that obviously makes it more vulnerable when we get what we call a rain-on-rain event. So you basically start getting damage on something that is already damaged. It just makes the problem worse. So those are the kind of areas that we will be focusing on and concentrating on.
A drier winter forecast for this year. What are the benefits, the ups, and then also possibly the downsides of that? Well,
I think the downside is that we had a prolonged fire season. So, you know, until 2 weeks ago, we still had quite serious fires happening. Obviously, the problem with dam levels. We're not at this stage remotely thinking of any drought situations that may occur, but we will be keeping an eye on that as the season goes. And if, you know, when we get into the next summer, just keep an eye on that pattern that might be forming. Of course, warmer weather in the winter is probably of value, but I think it is also just all the flooding damage that we have received up to now. It's really a process now of getting ourselves in a position where we can be a lot more resilient, and you know, continuous rain like we've had over the last 2 years does make that very difficult.
And then just finally, Mr. Diner, of course, you always issue some advice to whether it's motorists driving in rainfall, people living in low-lying areas. What message are you giving residents this time?
Yeah, I think the important thing is to take heed of the warnings. If you are living in specific areas and the warnings are provided, and we use a range of media to provide those warnings, make sure firstly that it is from a credible source, but then take heed of the warnings. You know, things like not traveling if you don't have to, you know, when there's high wind areas, is to avoid mountain passes, etc., if in any way possible. And then, you know, staying indoors, just protecting yourself is really, really important. Informal settlements, of course, we know that high winds cause a lot of trouble with debris. So, you know, people just need to heed the warnings, look at that they're safe in the area that they are. And yes, we will keep people updated, obviously, as things go.
Colin Diner, thank you so much for your time today. Of course, the head of disaster risk management in the Western Cape, just giving us an update ahead of the series of cold fronts due to make landfall across parts of the Western Cape this week.